All right. Good evening, everybody. Just out here in the garage. Had a bunch of projects to take care of over the weekend. So a couple things that I noticed with the car was the TKO was, it's face plated, so it does clang into gear. But ever since putting in that McLeod RXT, it's been super loud. So. And also, it looked like at the bottom I had like it looked like I had a rear main seal leak, a little drip. But, I took the transmission out to make sure everything was lined up, but also to look down into the bell housing and feel if any oil was building up down in the bottom, because the QuickTime is fully sealed. So I wanted to see if there's oil, a little bit of oil up there, but what I come to find out is, 1 second here. All right, guys. So what I found out when I pulled the TKO out was that this front bearing retainer for the cluster is prone to leaking, and if you look right down here, that's exactly where it was leaking. So it was dripping from here to here. If you can see, yeah, there's some oil over here too. But what it was, and then it was going down, it was dripping down the bottom of the, so it was dripping down from here, down the bell housing, and it looked like I had a rear main seal leak. So that will have to be addressed. I think there's just an O-ring seal behind that. So that's something to look at. But I also wanted, I picked up a TKX transmission also that's synchronized for street driving, and try it out on the strip. But we've got some parts. Thinking about another project here, having a whole another setup. So with this transmission, I've got some Pro Max heads. Obviously got a couple of other intakes. Got lots of stuff to get started on a build. But that came in on Saturday. It's already installed. I think the shifter to me feels kind of tight. I drove it around and it shifted fine, but it's not like a T5 shift handle. But it does shift all the gears real nice. Going into third, it's best just to push from the back because it self-centers and it'll go straight up into third, and then straight down. So it's probably best to do it like this, or just go with a ball and use the top of your hand. This is probably how you might be able to miss gears like this, but if you just pull back like that, but it does, I don't know if the shifter, the springs in here need to loosen up a little bit. I'm not sure, but you're not going to rattle this one around like you would a T5. So first, second, third, fourth. Excuse me, guys. But anyway, I've got that in. There was a direct swap from the TKO. I didn't change anything, but some people did mention this mounting pad is a little different height. So I may have to put a few spacers under here to make sure the drive line is exactly where it was before. It looks like it's tilted back about 0.3 of a degree more than it was last time when I put my angle finder on the front pulley here to check. I have all my last time I did my driveline angles, I got all the angles here on the notepad. But also when I took it around to check the TKX, I noticed it was a little noisy, like I had when I initially set the valves with 4 thousandths cold. It was about at that noise level again. So I figured, let me go back and run through the valves and see if they loosened up, because we set everything at 0 cold and it was much quieter. And here's what I came up with. And this is another way to adjust valves that's a little bit easier. You don't have to use to crank so much on there if you go follow the firing order. And this is called opposites. So it's for your exhaust and your intake, each cylinder has its opposite. So when one is at full lift, one's on the heel. So following the firing order, number 1, its opposite is number 6. So that, because that's the 5th one down out of 8 cylinders, that's the opposite. So basically, yeah, when I put number 1 on the exhaust at full lift, number 6 actually was okay. I didn't have to make an adjustment there. So then following the firing order, we go down to number 3. You check number 5. And again, that's the opposite, 3 and 5. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the opposite. And that one checked out okay. Go to the 3rd one on the list. So number 7, at full lift, you check number 4, and that one did need to be adjusted. And so on and so on. Number 4 in the firing order. Number 2, you check number 8. That one was okay. So anyway, it was about half and half. A lot of these need to be adjusted. They were not a full 4 or 6 thousandths like I had, but they were all about either 15 or 20 thousandths. So they were like maybe 2 thousandths out. And on the intake side, yeah, I had to adjust 7 out of the 8. On the exhaust side, I adjusted 4 out of the 8 and put them all back at 0 lash. So until I figure out the best way to really lock these down to where they're not going to move, if they get a little bit noisy, I'll just check them and run this procedure again. So that's pretty much the update on that. I did our closest drag strip now, Kingdon down in Lodi, is having a New Year's Day drag race. So that is, about 3 weeks out. So just trying to get everything ready for that, breaking this transmission a little bit. The clutch is feeling good. And the car's got plenty of power. So we'll keep tuning on the carburetor a little bit, but I think we're at a decent spot until I can make some full hits on it. But driving around the neighborhood, I think the plugs are looking better than they were last time. So, and looking at the AFR gauge, it's just at the tip-in cruise that it goes a little rich. But when I get on it on a hit, the AFR comes up to about 12 something or maybe 13.0. So it's coming up. It's just that kind of low mid RPM cruise that's still down in the 11s. So we'll have to tweak on that a little bit. But I think wide open will be fine in the mid 12s. So that's kind of where I'm at. Catching up on a little YouTube, having one of Sierra Nevada's fine pale ales, and just doing some maintenance on the car and checking out the new transmission. But if anybody has, I know the TKX swaps are pretty popular, so if anybody knows if there's any type of adjustment you can do on that shifter, or if it just needs to be broken in, seems like the springs are pretty firm. So we'll run it as it is. I took it around the block. It drove fine. No grinds, no nothing like that. It all ran good. So that is the update, guys. And we'll be tuning on the carb a little bit, getting the car ready for New Year's drags down in Lodi. And we'll go from there. All right, guys, thanks. And happy holidays, everybody.